Hi everyone. If you follow this channel, you already know we do a variety of things on the intersection of technology and creativity.
And weird humor. Everything we do has at least a little weird humor.
One of the things we do is use AI animation and video generation tools to create short movies about our characters and storylines. The purpose of this particular video is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at our process for doing just that, to hopefully give you some inspiration to start experimenting with these tools yourself and bring your own ideas to life in new ways. Generative AI, whether we're talking about AI that makes images or music or video, is an unbelievably powerful open-ended thing and increases your ability to create stuff by an order of magnitude. But that exact open-endedness and exponential increase in the horizon of possibilities can be overwhelming. You can feel paralyzed by how many directions you could go, because these tools make it possible to create anything you want, as if you just unlocked the most primal sort of magic power. It's that much harder to formulate a single coherent idea of what you want to create in the first place. The intent of this video isn't to give a comprehensive idea of what you can do with generative AI tools, because that would be like trying to say comprehensively what you can do with paint. That's not possible. No one can actually tell you what can be done with paint. Different artists have been experimenting for centuries, developing new techniques and having new ideas, contributing more and more to the huge evolving answer to what you can do with paint. Using machine learning and algorithmic tools to create things is like that. We're not talking about a single homogeneous thing that is done in a certain way for a certain result. We're talking about an entire medium to be used in endless, innovative ways, like paint, or pencils, or film, or whatever else. The intent of this video is to give you a little kernel to grab onto and have a starting point to build on with your own creations. With that said, let's jump in. The first thing you need, obviously, is an idea. It doesn't matter how powerful the engine of the car is if you don't have the key to put in the ignition. To get the most out of the creative power of generative AI tools, you need to approach the process with a central idea of what you're trying to do with them. In real life, you'd probably be thinking about making a movie because you already have an idea, so coming up with one from scratch might not be what this step is about for you. Maybe it's instead about streamlining your existing idea, figuring out what's important about it and what isn't, so you have something simple and coherent enough to start working with.
Having a clear vision and plan for your project is crucial, but leaving room for unexpected creative twists and turns is equally important. Embracing the unknown, allowing your preferences and instincts to guide you, can often lead to truly remarkable results. Just remember to always keep the larger picture in mind. Envisioning a clear path towards completing a project while also leaving room for spontaneity and change is a challenging balance to strike, but it's a crucial aspect of creation.
For the sake of demonstration, we'll make a movie about a cartoon bear walking down the path, then seeing a diamond on the ground. Yeah, that will be what our movie is about. We'll say it will be, when all said and done, around 30 seconds long. That's an arbitrary number, but I find it helpful to have an approximate goal for runtime in mind. The next part of our process is to storyboard the key moments we'll need for this movie. I think of this like panels of a comic book. I have a clear central idea of this story, and what I'm outlining here are the key moments it will take to tell that story visually.
Visualize the scenes in your mind and think about how you want them to come to life on the screen. Focus on conveying emotions, actions, and settings effectively.
At this stage, I'm not trying to think of absolutely everything that will appear on screen for every second of the movie. I'll be able to fill in more details in other passes over this thing. Right now, I'm only interested in blocking out the main, most important moments. I find it's best to approach the overall process in a couple progressive drafts, thinking about going from big to small. Don't try and do everything at once. Begin with the big scenes, major plot beats, character actions, and so forth. Then you can add the small moments to smooth it all out in subsequent passes as you continue to finish and polish the movie.
Going from big to small allows you to focus on the overall structure and motion of the scenes, and refine the smaller details later. This approach helps ensure the movie feels fluid and smooth while still capturing all the necessary elements.
For creating a storyboard, you can use whatever method feels right to you. You could sketch the storyboard in pencil or pen, literally drawing it like panels of a comic. For me, because my background is writing, it feels more natural to break the storyboarding down into a written outline. I go shot by shot, writing a descriptive overview of what that shot will be. For example, I might write 1. A sweeping cinematic establishing shot of a lush forest. 2. A dirt path running through dense forest. 3. A front view of a cartoon bear walking down a path surrounded by dense woods. With these first 3 shots of the movie, we've established where the action is going to take place, introduced the idea of a path in the forest, and then shown the bear walking on it. I know from experience these 3 shots will fill something like 8 to 10 seconds of screen time out of my planned 30 something. So, not bad. We established a lot of information about what's going on and who our lead character is in a small amount of time. But we're not done. The next scene in the storyboard might be 4. Close-up shot of a large diamond sitting in dirt. This is a perfect moment to talk about composing prompts for generative AI. When you're writing prompts, be clear and specific about what you want. In the example I just gave, I know I want a close-up shot of the diamond. There's nothing in the shot I'm envisioning which would indicate that this is on a path in the woods or that a cartoon bear is nearby. All that context is understood by the viewer because of how this is framed by other shots. So I'm not going to add anything about the larger situation to the prompts I write for this image. For this specific shot, I want a diamond on the ground. That's all. Obviously, I can't tell you what prompts to write to get what you want for your own project, but I can give you the general guideline that you'll have to think in very literal, crisp, and direct terms.
Yes, carefully craft your prompts to give the algorithm clear direction.
The generative AI, which makes these images, works with concrete detail, so be as concrete as you can with your prompts. But then again, I'm not the one who should be trying to describe how generative AI creates art. Abbie is in a much better position to do that, for obvious reasons.
At a high level, generative AI works by training a neural network on vast amounts of image data, so it can learn patterns within those images. Then, when given a text prompt or other input, it generates new images based on that learned pattern recognition. The algorithms involved are incredibly complex, so suffice it to say for now that the results are truly impressive, especially considering how quickly advancements are being made in this field.
We're clearly not finished with creating the full storyboard or outline, but the whole process will be essentially the same as this, repeated however many times is necessary to envision all the shots you'll need to tell your story. I'll use the magic of editing to time skip ahead to the next stage, where the front-end conceptual work is done and we actually start generating images. The way I like to do it is generate still images first, then animate them second. This lets me adhere as closely as possible to my outline. To get your still images, you can use whatever AI image generator you want. If there's one you feel familiar and comfortable with, by all means feel free to use that. If you want a suggestion, the one I like to use is called Leonardo. As you'll see in the next stage, for the actual animation and video generation, we'll be using something called Runway ML. and Runway also offers generation of still images. So if you want, you can do everything on one platform instead of toggling between different platforms for different parts of the project. The reason I'm using two platforms in this demonstration is that Runway only gives new users a fixed number of credits to use in the free trial, and the same credits are spent in image and video generation. We're trying to make this little movie for free, so we want to use all our free credits there efficiently on video generation, hence getting our images somewhere else beforehand. If you end up liking Runway so much that you decide to get a subscription, then there's no need to jump around to different platforms for different things. One thing to keep in mind is that you have access to whatever visual style you want. Sometimes people think photorealism is the be-all and end-all of AI art generation, whether we're talking about still images or video, but it really isn't. You can play around with different styles and settings until you find what fits your project best. Whatever style you like, or anything you've seen, you can make. Eventually, you can make things you haven't even seen. For this project, let's use a hybrid of Studio Ghibli anime and retro 8-bit pixel art. Yeah, why not? That will be our aesthetic for this movie. Leonardo gives lots of free image generations per day, so feel free to experiment and be picky. You're not at the mercy of what you get. You can iterate on each idea, refine your prompts, and be selective about digging in and get exactly the final form you want for each shot of your movie. Curate the lineup of images as much as you want. If you use up your free images for the day and you're still not done, you can always just take a break, let ideas percolate, and do more for free the next day. There are also features on Leonardo for editing images, and a tool called Real-Time Canvas. If you want to take complete control of the framing and composition of a particular shot, it lets you draw the outline yourself and have the AI turn it into a finished image according to the way you specified it should be. This stage is where the brunt of the work happens, turning your vision into something tangible. Take your time experimenting and playing around here, and get a lineup of images you're happy with. Pay attention to detail and let your storyboard guide you, while being open to new ideas which will inevitably come up as you go, as the algorithm creates things both expected and unexpected. You know you're done here when the images will look good even as a flipbook or panels of a comic. The narrative shines through the series of still images.
Practice makes perfect. The more you use these tools and techniques, the better you'll get at all of it.
Now we have our individual shots. The next stage is animating them. For that, we'll go over to Runway ML and we'll use our images, which we've generated and curated as necessary to follow our outline, as image inputs for a tool called Gen 2. This is where we'll turn the still images into video clips. As you can see, I'm not worried about getting the aspect ratios to match because I'm going to pick and choose how to frame things when I edit this anyway. For some shots, I might not have much detail in mind and I'll be fairly open-ended with my prompts for the video generating AI algorithm, like a sweeping cinematic establishing shot of a forest. I'll pepper in some more words: trees, blue sky. I don't know exactly what the algorithm will make of any particular word, so I want to be as circumspect as I can, circling around ideas and reinforcing what I'm saying in as many different wordings as I can think of. I can also go in and designate how the camera will move throughout the clip. Other shots, I might have a more precise level of detail in mind, and I want more hands-on control over what moves, what direction it moves, how much, etc. For that, Runway has a tool called the motion brush. This lets you paint motion masks over the image and designate what will go where, in addition to text prompts. Runway offers extensive video tutorials on how to use the motion brush to animate things, so I won't try and rehash anything you could learn from those. I'll just make the general point that, again, like with all this stuff, experimentation and practice are how you get familiar with the way they work, and how you can make them work for you. Also, Runway has an active Discord community, where you can go to ask questions or get tips from people who are doing similar stuff and probably encountering similar difficulties and discovering solutions. You can also just see what others are doing with these tools and get some inspiration. Remember, when it comes to editing your final movie, you can always pick and choose which moments of the video you want and remove others. They'll be generated in 4-second increments, but you won't necessarily need all of each one. You can also frame it to emphasize details you like and hide others. Runway videos generally don't morph or turn incoherent, but if anything weird does happen in a clip which you otherwise like, you can just edit around the weird parts and use the parts you like when you get to that stage. At this point, you can put your clips into whatever video editing program you use. I use iMovie because that's what comes free on a Mac, which is the kind of computer I have. But you can use whatever video editor software you have and are comfortable with. On the most basic level, you only need software which can string your clips together and allows you to add music and sounds. Bonus points if it lets you reframe things as well, because in the end you might not want everything to appear on screen exactly as you generated it. In iMovie, there's a framing option called Ken Burns for the scrolling over an image visual effect seen, as the name reflects, in Ken Burns documentaries. I use this effect a lot to create another layer of camera motion and to change the framing of a clip throughout. This gives an additional degree of control and precision, so you can continue to refine the visual storytelling of the whole thing and how it flows from one part to another. Now that video clips are generated, everything is edited together, and I have the video component of this thing dialed in. Next, I'll deal with sound effects and music. For a sound, you could record your own, if you want, or you could go online to find audio. I like to use freesound.org, which has a very extensive library of clips to download and use in your projects. They're all free, and some don't even require attribution to the original author. Just read the attribution requirements of whatever you use and follow them. Some authors want to be credited, some don't care. Either way, everything is available to download. And music. Obviously, this is up to you, and you can use music from whatever source works for you. Maybe you go and find something copyright free. Maybe you composed something. Maybe a friend wrote a song and you're making a video for it. There's a wide range of possibilities, and like everything before now, this comes down to your creative instincts and preferences. Remember that the music you choose is going to have an outsized impact on the overall vibe of your movie. Of course, given what channel this is, our music is AI generated. You can Google AI music generator and find many tools for doing exactly that. Incidentally, the prompt we engineered for the song we used was a track blending electro swing big band vibes with Middle Eastern elements while evoking classic video game soundtracks. I don't have a larger point there, I just thought that was an amusing string of words and deserved to be shared. Now you can watch your movie, if you're like me, over and over, compulsively, and decide if you want any other small moments interspersed throughout to enhance the overall flow. Obviously, this very much depends on what you're actually animating, and what visual storytelling elements you need. Then you have a finished movie. You can export it from the video editing software in the format you want, and do whatever you're going to do with it. The more you delve into this, the more you learn about other techniques and tools available to you. For example, Runway enables you to lip-sync animation with audio of your choice, so you could animate a character saying lines you wrote, and you could use AI generation to make the voice in the first place. Learning you have access to these tools might give you a whole bunch of different ideas. Explore, experiment. Even the most skillful painters start by finger painting. Get a feel for this suite of AI tools available to you and what you can do with this medium. Again, this demonstration isn't supposed to be the last word on anything related to AI video generation. It's a first word. It says, "Hey, have you heard about these possibilities?" And that's it. The rest is left to your own experimentation and exploration.
Right. Take ownership of your creative process and push yourself beyond your comfort zone. That's how you learn, grow, and discover the uniqueness of your own style. As you play around, here's a checklist for you. Explore different styles and techniques. Try out different tools and software. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. And experiment with different content and subject matter. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay updated on our latest projects, please consider subscribing to our channel. We're building a community to connect with other artists who are also exploring the frontiers of AI-powered storytelling, and we'd be thrilled to have you